First of all, thank you everyone who's shown up here today. My name is Kevin McKenna. I'm one of the criminal investigators for the Ithaca Police Department. I am a 21-year veteran of the Ithaca Police Department. I'm also the Sergeant at Arms for our Ithaca Police Benevolent Association. I'd like to take a moment to recognize a few individuals, namely our PBA Executive Board to begin with. Our president is Thomas Kinsella. Our vice president is Justin Williams. Treasurer is Michael Mesco. I've already introduced myself as Sergeant at Arms. And our secretary is James Belichick. We also have trustees. Trustees are Barry Banfield. Matt Schweiger. And we are missing Mary Oseo. She's a sergeant in our department. And Alex Page is also missing. He is a patrol officer in our department. First off, thank you to DC Monticello for coming here today. He is one of our deputy chiefs. I appreciate him being here. And I would like to start off with introducing the president of the New York State Police Association, New York State Union. I'm really butchering it. The New York State Union of Police Associations, President Anthony Solfaro. Thank you.
Hello to everyone. I've been asked to kind of MC a little bit, trying to identify all the fine organized labor that came here, so just bear with me. We have John Michael Grant here, he's an attorney for the New York State Union of Police. I've been introduced, my name is Anthony Solfaro. We have Jeffrey Pisano from the Onondaga County Sheriff's PBA. We have Mike, if I'm pronouncing it correct, Ciccarello from the Onondaga County Sheriff's PBA, Joseph Moran from the Syracuse PBA, Andrew Dean from Bangs, Kevin Cowan, the President of Tompkins County Sheriff's PBA, Jeff Baker from the Tompkins County Sheriff's PBA, Jerry Morley from Local 81, Plumbers and Steam Fitters, John Cometti, the Teamsters 317 Local, Jody Gonzella from CUBD, Marcus Williamy, if I said it correctly, UA Local 81, David Marsh, Laborers Local 785, Abigail Bixby, the Tompkins County Probation and Dispatchers Union, Dave McKenna from the Tompkins County Legislature. Thank you for attending. Todd Brewer from IEBW 241 Electricians Union and President of Tompkins County Cortland Building Trades. Dan Kelly from the CSO/CSEA. Lisa Spurger, same thing, CSO/CSEA. Jesse Albert from the Cortland Police. Joe Peters from the Cortland Police. Richard Wells, President, PCNY, known as the Police Conference in New York. Brian Noteboom from the Carpenters Local 277. Jim Mason, Carpenters Local 277. Patty Seagard, IEBW Local 241. Jamie Van from the Tompkins County Sheriff's PBA. John Smith from the Chemung County Sheriff's PBA. Tom Kimball from the Chemung County Sheriff's PBA. Thank all of you for coming on such short notice and traveling such great distances. There's going to be 3 speakers. It's my understanding that there'll be no questions. I'm the first speaker, to be followed by President Kevin Cowan of the Tompkins County Sheriff's PBA, and then the President of the Ithaca PBA, Tom Kinsella. Good afternoon. My name is Anthony Solfaro. I'm the President of the New York State Union of Police Associations, Local 8, at-large member of the Executive Board of the International Union of Police Associations, AFL-CIO, and Vice President of the New York State AFL-CIO Executive Council. I speak today on behalf of our member organization, the Ithaca Police Benevolent Association, who has been affiliated since August of 2002, and they are a great organization, and they're great men and women who do a great job. Our organization represents over 115 law enforcement organizations across New York State, comprising of city, county police officers, county deputy sheriffs, town and village police officers. Each and every municipality was under the same obligation as the city of Ithaca to perform a comprehensive review of their procedures and to make recommendations for police reform of its agency. In dozens of agencies across the state, we have worked successfully with municipalities in which our members work to help develop reasonable plans for practical reforms aimed to aid that community and its law enforcement personnel. No other agency, let me repeat that, no other agency made the drastic and destructive proposals that the city of Ithaca has put forward. This, if no one has taken the time, this is the proposal. We can provide anybody with the link so you can download it. It is worth reading because it'll tell you a lot. But this is what it looks like when it's printed out. The Governor's Executive Order 203, issued in June of 2020, required that municipalities, and I quote, perform a comprehensive review of current police force deployments, strategies, policies, procedures, and practices, and develop a plan to improve such deployments, strategies, policies, procedures, and practices for the purposes of addressing the particular needs of the communities served in such police agency, end of quote. Here in the city of Ithaca, the survey in the proposal states that approximately 60% of the respondents are, quote, satisfied, or, quote, very satisfied with, quote, the law enforcement in the community in which they live and work, end of quote. The overwhelming response was to have more law enforcement, not less. This proposal does not address the executive order as intended, which was to provide reform of the existing agency, not creating an entirely new agency. This proposal does not reflect the respondents' views on providing law enforcement for the city of Ithaca. Our attorneys have identified numerous legal impediments that must be overcome to change existing New York law before this proposal could even be implemented. Our organization will not only stand in solidarity with the Ithaca Police Benevolent Association, but with all of organized labor we should see here today, and throughout New York State to stand up for all working men and women. Lastly, it is imperative that the City Council show leadership and not support this proposal. In closing, I want to thank everyone who came here today to show their support for the men and women who wear the uniform and go out each and every day, every week, throughout the year to protect this community. Thank you. Now we have Kevin Powell, President of the Tompkins County Deputy Sheriffs.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kevin Cowan, President of the Tompkins County Deputy Sheriff's Association. I'd like to thank all of you for coming to be with us today in support of the men and women of the Ithaca Police Department. Thank you to the media for being here as well. The members of the Tompkins County Sheriff's Office work very closely with the members of the Ithaca Police Department in service to our community. We have reviewed the Public Safety Reimagining report, and we feel that some of the recommendations could pose a threat to public safety as well as officer safety. As an agency, and as well as Ithaca Police Department's agency, we've all been doing things that are in the recommendations as well as in the governor's report. We are open to discussions with local officials and community members to further those relationships and to serve our community. Again, thank you everybody for coming and showing support. These guys do a great job every day, and hopefully we can continue doing it the way we've been doing it.
President of the Ithaca PBA, Tom Gonzalez.
Good afternoon, everyone. First, I would also like to thank the Ithaca Police Benevolent Association Executive Board for their incredible work this week. It's been a monumental task determining our position on this proposal, and every member of the Executive Board and several members of our union body were involved in the process leading up to this point, so I would like to thank them. I would also like to thank the men and women, the hardworking men and women of organized labor who are standing behind me. The work they do every day is incredible. We have law enforcement labor groups as well as other unions standing with us today. So It's very important that they're here. Some have traveled great distances, so thank you for that as well. As you know, this past Monday, members of the Ithaca Police Benevolent Association received a draft proposal created by the Tompkins County Reimagining Public Safety Collaboration. For those who haven't had time to read the 98-page document and attachments, it essentially calls for the end of the Ithaca Police Department as we know it. Most of our membership received this potentially life-changing news at the same time that the media received the information with no forewarning or insight as to what was coming. Several of us also read about it in a GQ article, which was widely circulated on the internet. The outpouring of support since this plan has been revealed has been nothing short of incredible. Many have asked us how we are doing this week, and I can tell you this. To say that we feel betrayed and that we are angry is an understatement. The stress being experienced by our members and their families due to this recent news is immense and palpable. The Ithaca Police Department will be replaced by a new department, which will be fully established by the summer of 2023. The proposal calls for a combined force of armed and unarmed officers. The City Common Council is being asked to adopt this proposal in short order by the end of March so it can be delivered to the Governor's office by April 1st, 2021. We anticipate that the changes recommended in the proposal will not happen overnight, but little by little, beginning with the appointment of a civilian executive director to replace our police chief who is retiring next month. There is currently no known succession planning for our chief's replacement, which only adds to the notion of an incoming civilian executive director and leaves us anticipating a void in leadership. The Ithaca PBA believes it is likely that the sole purpose of this civilian executive director will be to assist the city administration in the further dismantling of the rest of the Ithaca Police Department over the course of the next several months or years, until eventually there is nothing left to include the Ithaca PBA. This radical proposal was completed per the direction of the Governor's Executive Order 203, which calls for municipalities in this state to evaluate and improve police services due to several highly publicized and controversial police-citizen interactions throughout the country involving use of force, which understandably drew the attention of not only our community, but the entire nation. The city administration's plan apparently is based on an assumption that there is an immediate need for progressive, rapid, and drastic reform to how police services are delivered locally in the city of Ithaca. Among several, we believe one main problem exists. It's in the process leading to the creation of the proposal itself. Furthermore, the Ithaca Police Department already meets the standards of Executive Order 203 and has for quite some time. This leads the Ithaca PBA to believe further that this executive order is being used to implement changes that are unnecessary, unprecedented, and likely extremely dangerous. We also believe that this is an underhanded and obvious attempt to bust the union of the Ithaca Police Benevolent Association. The Ithaca PBA believes that some key stakeholders, as the report reads, have been left out of any genuine opportunity for meaningful dialogue, input, or discussion as to reform and change. Those stakeholders are the police. We are experienced professionals in delivering public safety services, often involving people in crisis. It is a difficult experience to relate to if you have not dedicated your life to this cause and the very challenging and oftentimes dangerous work associated with it. Because we have been seemingly left out of the conversation, I want to be abundantly clear about something. The members of the Ithaca Police Benevolent Association embrace change. We welcome reform in the way we do business, in our training, and in the way we interact with the public. We recognize the need and importance of capitalizing on every opportunity for improving relationships with all portions of our community, especially those who are marginalized. Not only do we recognize those opportunities, we also seize them at every chance we get and we take action on them. Our membership was deeply disturbed and concerned to learn that the perception that some members of the community have of us, especially the perceptions of those who are marginalized, feel that we dehumanize and degrade them. Our membership is welcoming and open to dialogue with those who feel this way, and hope that the reimagining public safety process can be resurrected at this point and can focus on connecting stakeholders for meaningful dialogue, opportunities, as opposed to acting as an intermediary, which resulted in the 98-page proposal we have before us today. I should point out that the membership of the Ithaca PBA has been the driving force of change in law enforcement locally and in New York State for decades. We continue to participate in various forms of community outreach, which have been organized, driven, and supported not by city administration, but from our own membership within. PBA members have participated in the Polar Plunge, National Night Out, Coffee with a Cop, the Law Enforcement Torch Run, Cops on Top, and have also supported New York State Special Olympics and their athletes. Our PBA, as have so many of the others, have also donated countless hours of our time and tens of thousands of dollars to numerous charitable causes in the city of Ithaca and elsewhere, such as the Cancer Resource Center, Cops, Kids, and Toys, and the St. Baldrick's Foundation for Childhood Cancer. Our members have also organized other fundraising drives from within, to include No Shave November and the Pink Badge fundraiser, both which support individuals and families of those suffering from life-changing illnesses such as cancer. We have supported numerous local youth sports teams and have also provided Thanksgiving dinners to those within the community who are in need. We are also currently piloting a program from within to deliver care packages to those within the community who are experiencing homelessness, to make them more comfortable and to direct them to other branches of human services who can assist them in finding housing. We have also done the smaller things, which are likely less noticeable to the community, but no less important or impactful. So many of the smaller things have been done that there is no way to count them, quantify them, or measure them, because they are natural, genuine, caring, and spontaneous community interactions that take place every day, every shift between our members and the public. Whether it's stopping to converse with children who we come across playing outside during our patrols, or allowing a young child to play with the lights and sirens of our police vehicles. We have handed out junior police badges and stickers and have hosted community barbecues and police open houses to build relationships and break down barriers. The efforts are not specific to one neighborhood. They are not specific to age, religious preference, sexual orientation, gender identity, skin color, or any other demographic. They are blind faith gestures made by well-intentioned police officers who are absolutely dedicated to making their small corner of the world, the city of Ithaca, a better place. We have inspired children and youth who are interested in being the next generation of guardians in this great community to take interest in our line of work by showing them our police vehicles and facilitating their involvement in the Police Explorers program. Our tactical team and crisis negotiation team members have been invited to countless public demonstrations to display our mobile incident command truck and equipment for school groups, summer camps, and other community organizations, many of which serve marginalized portions of the community themselves. We do this all to increase awareness as to what we do and who we are. We do it to inspire goals and interest in our youth, and again, to break down barriers and start conversations. Our members have also participated year after year in the Santa Rappel on the Ithaca Commons, to help the community ring in the season. Our efforts are not just limited to the youth in the community. We have also engaged with adults in the community as well by hosting several citizen police academies, where members of the community attend an abbreviated police training program with the Ithaca Police Department to enhance their understanding of the difficult job we do and to start conversations around all facets of law enforcement to include police and community interactions. Additionally, as another engagement opportunity, our members developed from within a monthly distracted driving diversion program, which educated the community on the dangers of distracted driving. The list is endless, and it should be noted that most, if not all, of these community engagement opportunities and training events require our membership to work additional hours outside of their normally scheduled shifts to make them happen. Overall, we believe that years of genuine community engagement efforts are being thrown aside and disregarded by the city administration through this proposal. We have also donated to St. Jude's Children's Hospital in honor of our former honorary police officer, Officer Collin, who our department rallied around during the last years of his life to help him fulfill his dream of one day becoming a police officer himself. If you don't know the story of Officer Collin and his impact on our membership and community, it is utterly inspiring. It'll give you a window into what the members of the Ithaca PBA are all about. It'll give you a look into our souls, our intentions, and who we are as people. It might also give you an insight into how we are truly perceived by the youth in the community. Not only have the Ithaca Police been dedicated and actively engaged in community outreach, we have also been a pinnacle in New York State and the country in terms of progressive law enforcement training. We have attracted several new officers and lateral transfer officers over the years who are seeking to be part of the professionalism and the progressive training environment, mindset, and forward-thinking culture embedded in the department. Upon their entrance into the department, and at least once annually throughout their entire careers, every Ithaca police officer participates in reality-based training, which tests and develops all the skill sets that make an officer successful in the field at resolving situations peacefully through the use of de-escalation and communication techniques. In-service reality-based trainings are developed by several of our members who are also instructors in other police training topic areas and sub-skills. Development of these programs are also done in collaboration with outside entities such as mental health professionals, amongst others. This style of training is all-encompassing and has been occurring and evolving constantly for over the last 10 years at the Ithaca Police Department. Not only do our members participate in reality-based training, several of them have obtained an instructor-level certification, with some even going a step further and writing the curriculum for the reality-based training instructor course that has since been adopted by New York State DCJS as a model training program for the rest of New York State. This training has been proven on both the scientific and practical levels to increase an officer's ability to, again, resolve a situation peacefully and safely. Additionally, officers in this department have undergone trainings in procedural justice and police legitimacy, implicit bias, LGBTQ+ awareness, and crisis negotiation and intervention techniques, with some of our members also holding instructor-level certifications in those topics as well. In addition to the community outreach and training programs we administer and participate in for the betterment of the community, we also still first and foremost are police officers. We still go out. We respond to calls for service. We manage the conflict or crisis we are presented with to the best of our ability. And we are always putting our best foot forward in this community. We are professionals. We hold ourselves to a high standard, as does the community we serve. And we continue to do it day in and day out, while being stripped of the resources, staffing, and support we need to adequately do our jobs. We have faced staffing cuts for over the last decade and have lost approximately 20 positions in our department. Our members have had not so much as a cost of living wage adjustment since 2011. We also received minimal and in some cases no assistance from city administration in recruitment and retention strategies. More than ever, we now feel abandoned as the fate of the Ithaca Police Department is being sealed with its proposed dissolution and replacement with a new department. Violent crime in the city of Ithaca is steadily rising. However, our ability to proactively address it is decreasing by the day, almost as if by design to further this proposal. We can see value in the individual elements of the plan proposed through the Reimagining Public Safety Collaboration Plan for Tompkins County. The plan calls for more involvement of other branches of human services, such as mental health professionals assisting the public. We currently have excellent working partnerships with Tompkins County Mental Health, the mobile crisis team, and others who we collaborate with daily in the field, and we would welcome better relationships in that capacity. We also endorse the components of the plan which call for increased measures to ensure officer wellness. We do not disagree. Our officers are under an incredible amount of physical and mental stress, which undoubtedly is affecting them currently and will do so for years to come. We welcome any assistance in recruitment and retention because as our profession is changing and as our department is being stripped of the resources and staffing by the city administration, the Ithaca Police Department is quickly losing its standing in the law enforcement community to a point where we are unable to recruit new officers to work here or retain the officers we have. Due to the announcement of this proposed future for public safety in the city of Ithaca, we currently have many good, experienced police officers actively seeking employment elsewhere who are still in the prime of their careers. The Ithaca PBA believes the overall lack of support by the city administration is likely intentional in an effort to drive us to a point of failure publicly to further demonstrate the need for a new model for the delivery of public safety services. We also believe the lack of support combined with this proposal will continue to lessen the size of our workforce to a point where our department is unable to function. That said, as this proposal stands, the membership of the Ithaca Police Benevolent Association cannot and will not support it. As previously mentioned, we have not been included in any conversation on any genuine level and instead feel like an afterthought, if that. Our only opportunity for involvement was nothing more than a 40-minute focus group session, which involved being asked scripted questions by the firm which is employed by the city and county to facilitate this process. Additionally, the resulting input of several community groups who were asked to participate in this study is not representative of the entire community, but just a small percentage of who appear to, in some cases, have been handpicked participants. How can we truly hear the voices of those in marginalized communities, or the community as a whole, when given the small sample size of participants represented in the surveys leading up to this proposal? Additionally, how can we consider implementing such radical changes if only 13% of an extremely small sample in the city were unsatisfied with the current delivery of police services? How can we continue down this radical path when 87% of the small sample size are saying that they're neutral on many of the topics at hand or satisfied with policing in the city of Ithaca? In addition to the community who is the recipient of public services, we, the providers, will be greatly impacted by the changes sought in the proposal, all being done without the decency of a real conversation. While in theory, having unarmed officers respond to calls for service might seem appropriate, you have failed to account for the human factors involved. As we know from experiences, human interactions can become violent without warning or provocation. We also know that people who call the police for assistance may be in some type of crisis. Are you willing to test this new public safety model on your employees and your constituents when actual lives hang in the balance? There are also questions as to what will become of our community's police officers. There are several fundamental misunderstandings of our operations prevalent throughout the proposal and subsequent discussions which cause us great concern and deserve further discussion and consideration. The Ithaca PBA feels that many questions are going unanswered intentionally and that the finer details of this proposal are being omitted in order to mislead constituents and the Common Council into endorsing this with really no sense of what is to come. The Ithaca Police Benevolent Association believes that the proposal as it stands and the turmoil created by recent social unrest is being used locally, not as a mechanism for meaningful change, but more so as a mechanism to accomplish political agendas, which will in turn compromise public safety and increase costs to the taxpayer. We believe the proposal, as it is written, is intended not only to dissolve the Ithaca Police Department as we know it, but to end the existence of the Ithaca Police Benevolent Association and the labor agreement that the city entered into with the PBA. The Ithaca PBA knows that the intention of the city administration is to replace our members with a combination of armed and unarmed officers, fulfilling a watered-down version of what a current police officer does for less benefits and less money, leaving the city and our community less safe. The city administration has failed to bargain with the Police Benevolent Association in good faith for years, and this is the way they intend to start over. At this point, we cannot call this anything other than an attempt to destroy a highly functioning and professional law enforcement agency and a way for the city of Ithaca to circumvent the labor agreement they entered into with the PBA. This is a case of union busting, plain and simple. The hardworking men and women of this PBA and all other labor groups represented in the city of Ithaca deserve better treatment than this. We are not perfect as police officers. We have made mistakes. We have owned them and have constantly tried to better ourselves and the service we provide the community. We remain open to change. We are open to reform. But the Ithaca PBA will not stand for bully tactics, underhanded politics, and union busting, and nor should any other labor organization. We also hope that the Common Council will not endorse such poor treatment of any of the city's public servants. We are open to discussion, but we vehemently oppose and reject this plan as proposed by the city administration under the direction of Mayor Savante Myrick. Making sweeping, broad changes such as these should not be adopted by any legislative body without a clear path forward. Here, there is no clear path, just a wild and politically driven concept. Mayor Myrick has often commended the great work of our department and our members. In the recent past, he has been quoted saying the following: "The men and women of the Ithaca Police Department have performed their duties with admirable skill and professionalism." The mayor was also quoted in saying, "As head of the police department, I see every day the important work that police do. They do a dangerous job under difficult circumstances. They respond to the most mundane calls and the most horrific ones. They protect us from drunk drivers, domestic abuse, burglary, and more. Most of them can do it with professionalism and respect. They are committed and compassionate public servants. We should not fear public servants, and good police officers should not have to face the fear generated by the actions of bad ones." And lastly, Mayor Myrick is quoted in saying, We are proud of the good work of the Ithaca Police Department and strive to make our city a great place to work. If the mayor truly feels this way about the Ithaca Police, why does this proposal call for replacing our department? We also feel that without leadership in city government, conversation moving forward will be very difficult. Until there is discussion on how we reform together with a defined path and defined outcomes that don't involve gambling with people's safety, their families, and their livelihoods, this proposal must be voted down by the Ithaca Common Council. Realistic, workable goals and plans that do not include the dissolution of the Ithaca Police Department must be adopted. We ask the public to demand answers, ask questions, and petition your Common Council to do the same. Reject this proposal in the spirit of organized labor and public safety. We will not stand for the city administration gambling with public safety in this proposed political and social experiment, and we will not stand for union busting. Thank you.
First, I'd just like to say thank you again to everyone that's here that showed up in support of us. These individuals came from far and wide immediately upon request without asking. These individuals stand with us today for a reason, and we truly appreciate everyone here today. So again, thank you. Thank you to our executive board and our union body for doing all the hard work you've done this week. As you can see, this has been an emotional response for all of us. It's been a very long week. We're going to conclude the press conference at this time. Thank you again. We will have the statements available to you next week, probably on Monday. Thank you for your time.